Here we are at ninth grade lit, ready to read Canto 6, and I just asked the question, what's the first section, Libby, would you mind?
It's like the gates where the undecided are, and they're being chased by hornets.
Right, it's right before you right before you cross the river into hell. So you've gone through the gate, as Libby said, and you're in, what do we call this section? All right. And what did you say they're being punished as? How do
They're being chased by hornets.
Right, and I get this one mixed up with the next one. I bet you will too. They're going around in circles, but they are being chased by hornets, and they couldn't make decisions. And then they cross the river. What's the name of the river? Acheron. Who gets them across the river? Karen. And they're in the first circle. And what do we call that, Taylor?
Limbo?
Yes, it's called limbo, because they're suspended in a way. They're not awful, they're not good enough to get into heaven, they're too awful to really be punished. So how are they being punished?
Oh yeah, they were like, weren't they like getting blown around by like winds?
That's the next section. It's kind of a trick question when I say how they're being punished.
I don't know.
You don't know because, yeah, they're not. So it's kind of a trick. They're not being punished. So what is the punishment, Ben? There is a punishment, so to speak. All right, Leroy. What? Right. Haven't you felt that? Ever felt that? You couldn't go outside. Your friends were playing as a kid, and it's that regret. I couldn't be a part of that. They're not being punished, and I've left it on the board. It's the equivalent of the Elysian fields that the Greeks believed in, and so they go from that, which is limbo, to the second circle, which is what, Carter?
They're like being swept around in like wind.
That's where the wind comes in, right? And who are they? Like, what are their sins? Libby? Right, and could you show how that sin and that punishment are appropriate? Can someone explain? Yeah.
They get so swept away by their lust that
Yeah.
they can't control it.
So you get to enjoy that feeling forever. It sounds like it'd be great, right? Except it's not. And so they've now left the second circle, and they by the way, in the second circle, they meet people for the first time, and they meet Francesca and Paolo. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, I was just, didn't they meet like the dead poets or something?
Yeah, they met them in limbo. Yeah, they did talk to them. I forgot. Yeah, but
Francesca was the woman who cheated on her husband with his brother.
Right.
And then her husband ended up killing her.
Right.
And he's in the 8th circle now.
that's right. Very good. Yeah, he did the worst sin by killing them, but they also committed sin. So that's we meet them. So now we're in the second, actually the third circle. And if you didn't know, which you wouldn't, it's up at the top of the page, the gluttonous. And why don't we, well, Lonnie, would you read the story, and Ben, would you read the first page? We're on page 104. We're also through question number 23. Before you read, turn to page 100. Did we point this out? Do you see the parallelism at the top of page 100? Yeah, Charlotte.
It's lines 100 to 106, and it says love.
Right. Very good. It's written in almost the exact same language. That would be an example of parallelism. So we are now moving on to 24. And Melani's going to read the background.
Dante now finds himself in the third circle, where the darkness lies, wallowing in denial, drenched by spectral rain and all by three-headed dog service. After Virgil has Cerberus but very death into his jaws, Dante talks to
Chaco.
Choctaw, who prophesied some of the disasters which are about to befall France, and tells him where he will find certain others of their fellow citizens. Virgil tells Dante what the condition of the spirit will be after the last judgment.
Alright, so, we'll meet these people and these characters then.
When consciousness returned, which had shut closed the doors of sense, leaving stupefied. For pity of those sad kinsfolk and their woes.
Now, pause, circle the word pity. Remember, we pointed out that Dante felt pity for these people in the circle of lives, particularly Francesca and Paolo. That sounds like a good thing. You're gonna find out later, maybe that wasn't so good, that he felt pity for them. We'll see that in a couple of cantos. Go ahead.
New sufferings and my new sufferers far and wide, wherever I move or turn myself or strain my curious eyes, are seen on every side. I am now in the third circle, that of rain, one ceaseless, heavy, cold, accursed quench whose law in every nature varied, never agreed. Huge hailstones, sleet and snow, and turbid drench of water sluice down through the darkened air, and the soaked earth gives off a putrid stench. Cerberus, the cruel, misshapen monster, there bathes in his triple gullet and dog-like growls over the wallowing shades. His eyeballs glare a bloodshot crimson, and his bearded jowls are greasy and black. Pot-bellied, talon-heeled, he clutches his flesh and rips and rends the soul. They howl in the rain like hounds, and they try to shield one flank with the other, with many a twist and squirm. The impious wretches writhe in the filthy field. When Cerberus spied us coming, the great worm, he gaped his mouths with all their fangs aglow, bristling and quivering till no limbs stood firm.
All right. Let's see the question. The question is, well, it doesn't ask you this particularly, but you need to know, what is the punishment? These are the gluttonous. What is the punishment they're receiving? There are two parts to it, yeah.
It's like hail and like bad weather with like sleet,
Right.
rain, stuff like that.
Right. That would be one. Do we know the other one yet?
Yeah.
What's the other? Yeah.
Isn't it like they're in a field and they're like rolling around in like mud or whatever, and there's like some great worm and that like comes up and like.
I don't know why he calls him a worm. It's Cerberus. What is Cerberus? Three-headed dog. What is Cerberus doing?
He's like riding them, throwing them again.
Right.
Keeps like carrying them.
All right. So the slop and the rain and the mist and the dog. All right. Why is this appropriate? Now, you and I would not say that overeating is a sin. I don't think it is. But what causes overeating? That's what the sin is. Like, what is it? What might cause? And it could be, you could apply anything to the overeating. It's an appetite for things, certain things.
Desire.
What?
Desire.
Yeah, it's an out of control desire. It's an out of control appetite that you focus on instead of putting things in their proper place, like starting with God. So I don't think anybody would say eating too much is a sin, but the desire behind that is. Now we have to answer the question, why are those punishments appropriate for that sin? And they're, if you think about it for a second or two, they're perfect. The dog eating them, and the rain, slop, and mess, and mud, and yuck. Yeah.
Like for like the mud and everything, like they desire good and like their lives to be like perfect and like they desire like good things, and like when they're in hell, they're like getting stuff like that they don't want, and like so they're just like getting a lot of different things, but it's not what they want.
think you're right there. I like that. I'm gonna state something that I think Dorothy Sayers put it this way. You can write it down. It might help you. I'll read it and read it again. Sensuality, and that's kind of what this is. Putting everything in your five senses dictate who you are. You're out to satisfy all of your senses, your sense of taste, your sense of sight, your sense of feeling, sound. You know, that's the sin. It's like putting sensuality, the senses, the physical, above everything else. And so what this is sensuality masquerades as warm, cozy, and jolly. So in this world, eating is like one of the most happy things we can do, right? Think about it. Have you ever been to a party? Well, I guess there are parties that don't, but don't most parties involve food? I mean, at some point, almost every time large numbers of people get together, there's food. So what do you associate food with in this world? You associate it with lots of people, fun, chips, Super Bowl, whatever it is. You know, it's always food involved. But like you said, Daniel, in hell, all that turns to cold, miserable, sloppy mess because you overdid it. Now, has anybody eaten too much before? How did you feel? I mean, you loved it while you ate it, but then when you realize, oh my gosh, how do you feel afterwards?
You feel a little sick.
You wish you'd never eaten it. The thought of it makes you sick. That's the image here. That's why that is, and it's what Daniel said. What about the dog? What aspect of overeating does the dog? Yeah.
Does the dog kind of represent them in like life, like taking them and not even like finishing the food, just kind of throwing it away, going?
Yeah, the dog is a symbol of their appetite. And in a sense, if you eat too much, your appetite is eating you. You're eating the food, but the food becomes the dominant thing, and it's eating you. So Cerberus is appetite. Instead of them eating, instead of you controlling the drugs control you, whatever it is, any kind of addiction. The drugs or the whatever addiction controls you. That's the picture. Cerberus controls you. Cerberus is the appetite. And I think of all the pictures we'll get, these two are the clearest to me. Why those two is what Daniel said about how ugly overeating and indulging looks like in hell, and how your appetite looks. You think you're in control, no, the appetite's really controlling. I'm so hungry, I gotta do something, I'll do anything. You know, are you really that hungry? Maybe not. You should just, you know, get your mind on something else. And then suddenly you're not I'm not as hungry as I thought I was. All right, so let's keep reading. We'll go to Sean. And you can just read half of it, about 43.
It started at once.
Yes.
At once my guide, spreading both hands wide out, scooped up whole fistfuls of the miry ground and shot them swiftly into each craving throat. And as a ravenous and barking hound falls dumb the moment he gets his teeth on food, and worries and bolts with never a thought beyond, so did those beastly muzzles of the reared friend Cerberus, mother, who so yells on the souls. They're all half deafened,
Yeah.
or they would be, if they could. They're over the shades, whom the rain heavy fall beats down. We forward went, and our feet trod their nothingness, which seems corporal. These all lay groveling flat upon the sod. Only as we went by, a single shade sat suddenly up, seeing us pass the road. O thou that through this hell of ours art led, look if thou know me, since thou wast for sure said he, for ever I was unmade made.
All right, so, how did they get past Cerberus? Yeah,
What's his name? Virgil threw like dirt and mud into the dog's mouth, and then he fell on the ground, and they passed through, and then he woke back up.
right, so they distracted, they do that a lot, yeah, yeah. Then they meet somebody, and the name is at the top of the page, Jocko or Chaco. It's his name, and he's a Florentine. Why is that significant? Yeah,
That's like Dante's hometown.
so Dante, I don't remember, we'll find out again, I can't remember if Dante actually knows him, but they are from the same city. All right, so we'll go to Taylor,
Wait,
then I to him. Dante actually speaks to, Chaco.
did I to him, perchance thy torments sore have changed thee out of knowledge. There's no trusting sight if I ever set eyes on thee before. But say, who art thou? Brought by what ill lusting such a path and punishment as, meseems, worse there may be, but nothing so disgusting. Thy native city, said he, where envy teems and swells so that already it brims the sack. Call we here her own in the life where the light beams. Chaco, your citizens, nickname me alack. Damnable gluttony with my soul's disease. See how I waste for it now in the rain's rack. And I, poor sinner, and not alone. All these lie bound and like penalty with me for the like offense. And there he held his peace. And I at once began. Thy misery moves me to tears, Chaco, and weighs me down. But must tell me if thou canst what end may be in store for the people of our own distracted town.
Could you just finish that?
Is there one man left, or is it just one man left? And from what source could such full head have these distempers grown?
All right, do we have this question,
Yes, 25.
what prediction? All right, so we're gonna be reading, we're gonna be answering number 25, number 26, and number 27, and number 28. So he speaks to Chaco. By the way, Chaco is a nickname, and it means pig. You know, like somebody overeats too much. So Chaco, he asked Chaco, what's going on in Florence? So I don't know if he knows him personally, but he says, tell me about Florence. So we're gonna read some things here that are maybe not all that important to remember, some of the political details, but Leroy's gonna read it. You're gonna see in tercet number 73, tercet meaning the three lines, tercet, a stanza. Tercet 73, you're gonna see another triad, question number 27. What he's gonna do is predict some things about Florence. You'll find this out, that people in hell, this is strange, people in hell in Dante's hell can predict the future, but they can't see it as it gets closer. It's strange, they can see what's gonna happen in the distant future, but as the distant future gets closer, they forget it. So they can't remember what they predicted. So anyway, we'll go with Leroy.
Perchance thy torments sore have changed.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are you in, 64 and he, long time?
Where is it? Sorry.
Page 105, you're 106.
Is it in store?
No, it's the next one.
And he,
And he long time respectful run its course and come to bloodshed. The wood party thence will drive the other out with brutal force. But within thee, very brief signs their confidence will never fall. And the other faction rise by helping one who now sits on the fence. And these will go in line with arrogant eyes, crushing their
Slow down
shoulders
just a tad.
with heavy loads indeed. For all their bitter strains outrage prize. 2 righteous men there are, whom none will heed. 3 sparks from hell, avarice, envy, pride. In all men's bosoms sowed the fiery seed. His abiding speech thus ended, so I cried, speak on, I beg thee. More much reveal. What do you got that?
I don't know. Take the eye, and fair enough.
Fair not. Avital,
Yeah, keep reading.
those worthy men and
Resticucci.
Rusticucci. There we go, Mosca and the rest of them. Those lines were still there. Well, they cannot find them. The detail I am consumed with my desire to know. Feasting have poison here and come. He answered with the blacker spirits below, dragged to the death by other crimes of war. There shalt thou see them who sow the Jago, who went to the sweet world thou art restored. Recall my name to living memory, I'll tell thou more, nor speak another word. Therewith he squinted his straight gaze of glory, eyed me a while, and dropping down his head, rolled over and lived outside of this company.
That's good, that's good.
Uh,
There's several things here, go back to number, 25, and 26. What impressions do we get of Dante's hometown Florence? And 26, what predictions does he make about Florence? Did you get anything there? The details don't matter that much, yeah.
Like, she says, I think it was like teaming with, what was it, envy? So like, it's sort of like a place of, where there's like, I'm guessing like a lot of like different rich people who are like envying each other, and like, everyone's trying to keep up with what's like, what news happening. So it's just like, I don't know.
So where'd you see that? Where'd you get the part that you just mentioned?
It's on the last page, I think.
I mean, what terse?
I don't know, I saw it somewhere. I'll find it.
It's line 73.
Yeah.
All right, two righteous men are there, okay, of course, very good.
Also 49 on page 105.
All right, so let's go back to line 73. Avarice, envy and pride. That's the answer to question number 25. That's the problem with Florence. And he predicts that one party will overthrow the other party, the whites will overthrow the blacks, and the blacks will overthrow the whites. That's not important, except there is political strife. And you see in line 74, the triad. You know what avarice is? Envy, you know what envy is and pride. What's avarice? Avarice is greed, strong greed. So you get the desire for things and holding on to things and so forth. All right, so Lily, would you finish it? 94 to the end.
Then spake my God, arouse no more, he said, till the last loud angelic trumpet sounded. For when the enemy's power shall come arrayed, each soul shall seek its own grave's mournful mounding. Put on once more its earthly flesh and feature, and hear the doom eternally redounding. Thus with slow steps I and my gentle teacher over that filthy sludge of souls and snow passed on, touching the whole upon the nature of the light ground. Master, said I, this woe will it grow less, or still more fiercely burning with the great sentence, or remain just so? To go, he said he, hast thou forgot thy learning, which hath it, the more perfect, the more keen, whether for pleasures or for pains discerning. Though true perfection can never be seen in these damned souls, they'll be more near complete after the judgment than they yet have been. So more talk which I need not repeat, we follow the road that rings that circle round till on the next descent we set our feet. There Pluto, the great enemy, we found.
All right, thank you. Look at 28. What's Chaco's last request of Dante? All right, look at line 89. Recall my name to living memory, but when to the sweet world thou art restored, recall my name to living memory. I'll tell no more, nor speak another word. The one, yeah.
Oh, I guess you just read it, but I was just like. to
Well, what is
remember-
it? Put in your own words.
Like to remember him and when he goes back to the new world and then, and like he won't predict anything bad again.
Well, the first thing particularly, Lily, what were you gonna add to it?
He tells Dante, can you go tell everyone about me, like remind everyone.
And that's a typical thing you hear from the people in hell. The only thing they have to look forward to, the only hope, the only positive thing in their lives is being remembered on earth. Like that guy right there, Shakespeare, I don't know if he's in heaven or hell, but we haven't forgot about him for 400 years. And that's something, isn't it? If he knew that, that would be, I don't know how we feel about it, but that's the one thing that they always ask for. They always ask Dante, tell them about me. Don't let them forget me. It's the only thing they got. Who is the enemy power in line 96? Anytime the word enemy is uttered, who is that a reference to? It's to God, because he is hell's enemy. He is Satan's enemy. So they refer to God as the enemy. If you were German in World War II, the Americans would be the enemy. Enemy is a sliding scale. It depends on who is it on. You can call anybody an enemy. And then question
What was 27?
27 is, look at it, line 74.
Oh,
And I hope you're writing in the book. It's just, to me, it's not enough to write the questions down. If you don't underline it, like I asked Daniel, where did you see that? And we were able to find it. That's really important that it's about close reading. Yeah, are you making this up? No, it's right here. It's line 73. There it is. Read it. That's the way you want to be. You want to be able to prove what you're saying about it, because here it is, right in the text. Yeah. Look at question number 29 in line 94, 99. He says, he'll rouse no more till the last loud trumpets angelic sounding, for when the enemy powers shall come arrayed, each soul shall seek his own grave, put on once more earthly flesh and feature, and hear the doom eternally rebounding. What event? There are two parts to it, yes.
Is it when God comes to the sun?
What do we usually call that? What's the expression that usually? Yeah, that's another event, but it happens, some people think it happens at the same time. We call it the second coming. So if you ever hear that reference, it's the second coming of Christ. But one other thing's gonna happen when he comes back. We've talked about this before, and this is a prominent idea in Dante. What's gonna happen to everybody, every dead person, what's gonna happen to them?
You're gonna come out of the graves.
That's right, in new bodies. So even people that are going to hell will have new bodies, and people that are going to heaven will have new bodies. Look at line 103. Of the life to come, this woe, will it grow less or more fiercely burning with the great sentence of just remain so? So when that happens, are people in hell? There are people in hell now. But what's going to change when they get their bodies back? Dante says, or Virgil says, the more perfect, the more keen, whether for pleasure or for pains discerning. In other words, if you're in hell and you get your new body, you're going to feel the pain of hell more because you have a new body. In heaven, you're going to feel the pleasure of being there more because you have a new body. So there's a reason, or there's a result, an effect of people getting new bodies. Yeah, I don't know if you've thought of that. Every single person. What about people who were buried 10,000 years ago? What is the condition of their body right now?
just like
Bones.
bones and interior.
Possibly, or just dust, right? So how are they going to get their body back?
They won't.
About the body,
Okay.
it's about the soul.
What?
It's not about the body,
they are gonna get their body back, so how are they gonna get their body? What about people that were thrown into the ocean or drowned in the middle of the ocean? How's he gonna get his body back? Here's where science will help you. I learned this a long time ago in science. Matter is neither created nor destroyed.
Like, if it's dust, then it'll make your new body.
What happened to the molecules of your body when it's only dust? They're right there. They could be scattered all over the place, and those molecules are still there. And so, that's the thing about cremation versus being buried. People wonder, what about when the resurrection comes? Well, God will put them all back together, regardless of what the condition of it is. And it's gonna, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Out of death, he's gonna bring this vital new body that you and I will have, be a lot like Jesus' body. Turn to page 110. We don't have a lot of time for this, but maybe Luke can read the background. This is circle 4. This is Canto 7. Circle 4. Don't put up anything. Read the background. The story.
At the entrance to the fourth circle, the poets are opposed by Pluto, and Virgil is again obliged to use a word of power. In this circle, the hoarders and the spendthrifts hurl huge drops against one another. And here Virgil explains the nature of and working of luck or fortune. Then crossing the circle, descend the cliff to the marsh of Styx, which forms the fifth circle and contains the radical, scourging its edge. They reach the foot of the tower.
So what's gonna happen in Canto 7, they're gonna move through circle 4 and into circle 5. So Canto 7 has 2 circles in it, and then Canto 8 will focus on circle 5. Circle 4 are the hoarders and spendthrifts. What are hoarders? There's a whole show of that. What?
People who are overly attached to the material object and don't want to get rid of it.
Okay, what's wrong with that? Why would that be considered a sin?
It's like idols.
Ben?
Cause like, yeah, it's like idols are worshiping it, and like you shouldn't, like you wanna give up to give to the poor and stuff.
Yes, yes.
What Ben said, and also you shouldn't be focusing on worldly things.
All right. What are spendthrifts? You ever heard that word?
They spend their money.
Yeah, so aren't they 2 halves of the same coin? In order to have things, you have to buy them. And so spendthrifts, they just spend their money and they get things for it. And then the hoarders are the people that hold on to those things. So they're put in the same place, spending and keeping. And they're going to be punished. And then we learned some other things here. We're gonna learn about luck. That's the neat thing about reading Dante. What is luck? Well, that's interesting. What do you mean by that?
I mean, like the 2 different things, like some people like believe in luck as in like, oh, I just don't, I mean, it's sort of bad to use the word in the definition, but like, I just got like lucky, like this sort of like came to me like unexpectedly, and it's just like by chance, sort of.
All right.
And then like other people believe that every little thing in like the world is set up by God, so like if something happens to you, it's not this, like nobody knew that was gonna happen, it was like planned by God.
Libby, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say it's something that is believed to, something good will happen to you by a rare chance.
All right, so they have a discussion of what luck is, and we'll see it. We'll see tomorrow. Remember to bring your Bibles.